Well, aren't you a regular Nancy Drew?
I learned that from the Nancy Drew detective.
Okay, go.
You think you can follow the clues and solve the case of the missing condiment, Nancy Drew?
Because I've read every Nancy Drew mystery ever written.
Nancy, please tell me you're joking.
Wow, you suck at this Nancy Drew stuff. You should get a new hobby.
My name is Carson Drew, and this is my assistant, Nancy.
Nancy Drew.
It's curtains for you, Miss Drew.
Nancy Drew strikes again.
A regular Nancy Drew.
Hello, regular Drews.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is episode 121, and we are kicking off a new kind of topic here. We are back with the Nancy Drew PC games.
Yay! I'm so excited. This is a long time coming.
It's been a minute since we've done them, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not since last year?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We did that section at the beginning, I think, of this year where we did the books that inspired the games.
Right.
But the games themselves, I don't think that we've covered in maybe since last summer. Is that right?
Summer 2024.
Okay,
is the
yeah.
last time we did that. So
It's about time.
About time. Yeah.
And here we are with one of the best games.
I know. If there is any game that I could play with my eyes closed and my hands tied behind my back, it is this game.
Oh my gosh, right?
And it is Treasure in a Royal Tower. Just so iconic. Thank you to our patrons who voted on this. This may have been the first game I ever played, but I think it was actually probably Message in Haunted Mansion.
I was going to say, I feel like I remember you saying that this might have been your first or second game. I know it was my second game ever because I played Final Scene first and then this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this goes deep into the recesses of my mind to the point where it's so muscle memory, some of these things in the game. It's like I'm playing this game on autopilot. I'm like not even, and I had to force myself at several points to like, okay, slow down, look at what's happening around you. You're going to have to describe this to other people. Right. You can't just like project your mind onto a podcast episode.
Oh my gosh.
This game is probably the game I've replayed the most out of all of them because it was probably one of the first games I ever played. So maybe one of the first PC games I've ever played. Definitely one of the first Nancy Drew games I've ever played. I mean, I think there were some Barbie games in there.
Sure,
that may have preempted this, but like overall, this.
And it's so good. You guys, honestly, like, what are we doing here? If you haven't played this one, 5 flashlights, let's go home, just go play it. Like,
seriously. Yeah. End of the day, like, it's maybe the best Nancy Drew game ever made.
It might be. Honestly, it's a little bit, okay, obviously the earlier games, they weren't as long. They weren't as extensive as some of the later ones where it's just like puzzle after puzzle. So the puzzles in this one are a little bit simpler. The gameplay itself is a little bit more straightforward, but it's so good. Like it doesn't even need all that extra stuff.
It's just such a rich game, even though there's like, not a whole lot that you actually end up doing like just through plot, I guess. There is just the castle is so big, like to explore. There's so many different like hallways and rooms you can go into, even though there's not necessarily anything to do in those places, you know. It creates such like an expansive vibe. And then like, you know, there's just all kinds of like hidden details that you don't necessarily need to notice on your playthrough in order to complete the game. And so it feels like, you know, if you don't play in a way that's like where you click on everything, it does have a lot of replay value where you can go back and be like, oh, I didn't notice this before, or oh, this character said that and I didn't get that option last time because I didn't like select the right thing, and wow, that's an interesting thing for them to have said. And like, yeah, and I just think the characters themselves are super interesting, and they're like have interesting character design, so it just feels like when you're talking to them, you're like talking to real people. Like it doesn't feel like I'm a computer generated character. You know what I mean? And for a game that came out in 2001,
yeah,
like that's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. And I mean, also, of course, you know, we talk a lot about the older games and them being way more edutainment focused than like some of the newer games where maybe it's a little bit of a stretch that this is educational. This is truly like French Revolution 101. Like
this is like the epitome of edutainment games. Like truly,
Right.
if you were to have an example of like what does that look like, it's Treasure of the Royal Tower for
There's
sure.
literally like a built-in quiz for you to answer questions about the French Revolution. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's great. It's great. And on the note of the puzzles, I just have to say that yes, like they are less in this game, but the one major puzzle in this game is a puzzle that like I don't think I've ever seen replicated in any other Nancy Drew game since then, in the way that it's like exploration based. Like in order to solve the puzzle, like you have to explore. And I mean, like, there's similar things maybe in other Nancy Drew games, but I don't know. The way that they do it in this game is so compelling and feels so unique to me. It's just immaculate. It's just so good. It's just so good.
I assume you're talking about the getting into the library puzzle,
Yes.
which is...
Well, getting into the tower.
Oh, getting into the tower. Yeah,
Right.
excuse me. Yeah, which you have to figure out how to get into the library first, obviously, to get into the tower. So yes, but maybe kind of a little bit the secret passageways in the final scene, but even that doesn't like measure up to this particular one. Like it's so good. I swear. The first time that I solved it, I was so proud of myself. 8 years old me getting into the tower for the first time. That was really like the moment I was like, I'm a regular Nancy Drew. Like I figured it out before this. Like, yeah, I'm just a Nancy Drew fan. But when you saw that, you're like, I kind of a little bit am Nancy Drew. Like 8-year-old you is like so proud of yourself for doing it because it's not easy to figure out how to get into that. I remember 8-year-old me like drawing maps, like studying the passageway. Like it's so good. It's so good. I can't even describe like what a payoff it is to get into that, to get into the elevator, get into the library. It's so good.
Yeah, totally agree. It's like these are our actual regular Nancy Drew roots. It's
yes,
like
exactly.
This game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always, whenever we're doing the game episodes, I like to try to think about like, okay, if we got a remaster, what would it look like? Or what would I change about it? And like, yeah, okay, there's definitely some things that you could add if this game was made like 10 years later than it was. I think we would probably get like a cooking puzzle where we have to make the fried drumsticks.
Oh, please.
Or,
that would be so good.
or like Jacques with his little hope boxes that he paints. I think that we definitely would have had like a puzzle where we have to help him paint. Or like Dexter would give us a couple of extra chores every day. But even then, I'm like, you know, all that would be nice, but I don't even need it.
No.
Like thinking about it as it is, I know, like I said, it's a little bit of a simpler game. I think maybe we could have the navigation be a little bit less clunky than it is. But ultimately, I don't even want a remaster. Like it's so good as it is. Like it truly just doesn't need it. It's so good as it is, you know? So
I agree 100%. So, okay, to talk a little bit about the gameplay, it is a classic Nancy Drew point and click. Because this is in 2001, the gameplay itself is like in this like smaller little window section of the overall screen where there's like this bluish green like overlay with your inventory on the bottom right and like a little dialogue box on the left that stays there all the time. Kind of on par with Her Interactive's earlier games, you have to manage your time via a bedside alarm clock. But of course, you know, each game is kind of your own. You can control how quickly or how slowly you do something, to a certain extent, you know, what order you do things in. And you can encounter different things at different points, just depending on, you know, your own playthrough. And so this summary that we're going to go through in a little bit is just based on the order that I did things this time. So it could be different for anybody. But okay, so as all Nancy Drew games, not all Nancy Drew games, most Nancy Drew games, it opens with a letter. And Nancy tells us that she is going on a ski vacation to Wisconsin. Or at least she would be if she weren't like trapped inside the hotel that she's staying at by a blizzard. Or actually, sorry, not a hotel. It's a castle. A castle in Wisconsin? Question mark.
Who would question that? That's normal.
We're like not supposed to question it either. I mean, so we do learn in the letter that this castle was originally owned by this guy named Ezra Wickford, and he was apparently pretty eccentric. But the explanation that we get for his eccentricity is not that he built a castle in Wisconsin. It's that the castle itself is kind of goofy because it's got like, you know, dead end hallways and doors that lead to nowhere and stuff like that. So like, I think he's eccentric because he just decided to build this thing here.
Well, this was in the part of the book as well, right?
Yes.
This was a plot point in the book, because I feel like in the book it was a little bit more, like they laid it out more specifically, where the game it's a little bit more vague with what his plans were, that he'd planned to like buy other pieces of towers to bring those in.
Yes.
And that's where the doors would eventually lead. But because he never did that, you just have like a fake door that goes nowhere.
Yes. Yeah. And I do think in the game too, it hints to that because some of the, I think, dead ends are like in places where there would be another tower. It's like on like the corners of the building kind of. And so it's like, I mean, that makes sense. But yeah, if you hadn't read the book, you would never know that.
Right.
So the current owner right now is Christy Lane, who is a friend of Carson's, and she is away on business. And the caretaker, whose name is Dexter Egan, is currently in charge. And Nancy says that she is, you know, even though she's snowed in, she's already excited to explore the castle and look around, especially because she noticed on her way coming in that one tower in the castle looks a little bit different than all of the others on the castle. But otherwise, she's just here to relax and have a vacation. There is no mystery yet. Okay, 3 words. How would we describe this in 3 words?
Definitely French Revolution, like you said, or just Marie Antoinette and her history.
And then I think it's gotta be, we gotta talk about the snow. The snow vibes are major in this. It's such a Christmassy feeling game, even though I don't know the time period it's actually, or like the time of year it's actually supposed to be set, but just it's winter, you know, snow, cozy vibes, all of that.
Yes. Snow, and the weather is a big factor in it as well. Obviously, we're snowed in currently, but then also when we do go out later in the game and we get stuck outside, they did such a good job with the seasonal vibes in this one, for sure.
When Nancy walks outside, the crunch, crunch, crunch of her walking in the snow.
So good.
So good. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely snow or blizzard or...
Snow, French Revolution, and I kind of thought, like, secret backstory because that's kind of the plot of, like, you know, the core mystery, but also like several of the characters have kind of a secret backstory.
The building itself has this secret backstory and all these secret passageways and everything.
Exactly.
Actually, secret passageways would be a good one too, just because that is such a prime part of it.
We could do either.
Oh my gosh.
Just secrets in general.
No, I like secret backstories because the character backstories are so good. Okay, now let's do backstories.
French Revolution, snow, and secret backstories are our 3 words. Okay,
and you want to talk about the vibes next? Or you said you did want to talk about the cover?
We'll just talk about the vibes just in general as how we play.
Yes.
Oh, but we can talk about the cover for sure. Oh God, the purple castle. You guys should look at the cover art of this game. It features obviously Wickford Castle, although when you play it in the game, there's no way it actually looks like that.
No. I've always loved this cover though, because you do see the stained glass window that Nancy looks through at one point in the game, and there's a shadow staring at us through the stained glass window.
Like it's Nancy looking out at us, or, you know, the culprit looking out at us. Yeah, very nice.
Then the medallion laying in the snow.
Yes. So good. So good.
So cute. Yeah, if you don't know, all the covers from the games, they kind of revolve around one color. Like they'll pick a color theme for that game. This game is purple, which is perfect for the Marie Antoinette vibes and everything, and purple rose, and we'll get there.
Yeah. Lots of purple in this game. Yes.
But the fact that there's like currently a blizzard going on, you can see the wind and the snowflakes blowing in front of the castle.
Like accumulating on the iron gate surrounding the castle. Like, too good.
The snowdrift just bulking up against the building. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And I think too, like, we have to talk about the soundtrack of the game here, because
Kevin
it's
Manthe.
it's so good. I don't know what this dude was doing, but he was cooking in that sound booth. Like, oh my God.
The things you do, sir. Goodness.
Like, I can't even describe to you. I mean, like, we all know that, like, you know, the menu, like, is just iconic as it is, but the game soundtrack itself for this particular game is just exceptional. It's so good. It's so atmospheric. It's spooky at the right moments. It's light and kind of romantic at other moments. It's so, like, twinkly and lovely. I yeah, I can't get over it. Also, so, like, you know, the castle itself is honestly an interesting design. I don't know that it's exactly what I would picture if I was picturing, like, a, you know, the 1700s French castle.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like like what someone in 2001 might think of when they think about a 1700s castle. It really does have that early aughts kind of, maybe it's the color palette that gives it for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of rusticy vibes, like a kind of like a rusticy brown.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess it's supposed to fit in with the vibe of the castle being, like, a little bit, like, older and worn down, but it looks kind of like if someone were to do it, like, fake, like, you know, like how they would do, like, those fake distressing on, like, walls or, like, paper, like, with, like, a sponge and, like, brown paint.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit like that, like a wall treatment, as opposed to this is how the wall actually looks because it's aged naturally over time.
Gotcha.
But overall, it's still great because I think it kind of fits in with the fact that, like, oh, well, this was actually recreated in the 20s. So, like, even though, yeah, maybe it looks a little bit more 2001, it doesn't look entirely realistic to, like, the 18th century, but they probably wouldn't have, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So
it does feel very cold. Like it's not cobblestones, but everything is like stone walls, stone floors, stone ceilings. So it feels very cold in there, which I think just contributes to the seasonal winter vibes of it as well.
Yeah. But I mean, in and of itself, the castle is truly massive. Like we were saying before, there are so many hallways that you can explore down to the point where you can get a little bit lost, I think. Not me, because I've played this game so many times, like I said. But if it's your first playthrough, you're probably like, where's my room? Can't find my room. Don't know where that is. Or Hotchkiss's room, God forbid. It's way harder to find. It's like, she's typing. I can hear she's typing somewhere around here. Where is it? I remember so vividly that experience as a child, is like keep accidentally passing Hotchkiss's room.
Yes.
Like, how do I get to it? It's right there.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we need to shout out our friend April, because I don't even remember when it was, but lovely, lovely April is such a wonderful supporter of this podcast.
Yes.
She's listened to every episode, even though she is not a self-described Nancy Drew fan. Like, I think now she has read some of the books, but only because we have been so enthusiastic about it. I think we wore her down a little bit, but we did a few years ago convince her to play this game. I think we were on Zoom, actually. Like, she was playing it and we were just watching, and we live tweeted the whole thing.
Pandemic time.
Yes. It definitely was. And I think that she also had a little bit of trouble, like, navigating this game. But y'all, she had the funniest commentary about this. So shout out to April. I know you're listening, because you always do, because you're so sweet.
We love you, April.
But yes, hopefully this is amusing for you now that you've actually played this game. So this is for you, April.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to tell you, I was doing a little bit of research before we started this episode, and I found some sales numbers on this game. So this game came out in, was it August of 2002? I want to say August 2000. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. August 2001.
August 1st, 2001.
Okay, these sales numbers are from July 2002. So the game had been out about 11 months at this point, and they had already sold 102,000 copies of this game.
Yeah.
Which is a lot for the time.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I don't have better context for what those numbers mean, but they were selling quite a bit. And it looks like Best Buy was their number one retailer for this game at the time.
I would frequently go to Best Buy to purchase my games.
Followed by Toys R Us.
Or Target. Or, Toys R Us. I don't think I ever bought them from Toys R Us.
I think that mine were from Office Depot. The first ones that I ever bought. So this copy, Office Depot.
Gosh. They used to sell video games at Office Depot. You guys, you don't understand. It was a different world. To our young listeners, our Gen Z listeners, it was a different time, you guys. You couldn't get video games from your house. You had to go out and find them at a retail store.
So these games were very popular at the time. Her Interactive was so detailed about keeping these numbers that they would actually even send some of their employees to stores to check and see, okay, are they advertising it with the cover out or with the spine out? Like, how are they positioning these games on the shelves versus our competitors? What are they doing with their sales? So they were really specific with keeping track of this stuff. So
really involved in the store marketing. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's my behind the scenes information if anybody is interested. Yes.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So right when we jump into the game, we load into Nancy's room at Wickford Castle, and we can explore a little bit in there. And there is some really interesting backstory if we look at a brochure that is in Nancy's suitcase. It tells us that Ezra Wickford, who is the owner of the castle, apparently invented chocolate milk.
Icon.
This has got to be the most random piece of lore that's in any Nancy Drew game, I swear. Just, it's so bizarre. It's so out of left field. I don't understand what this is supposed to tell us about the man. I guess just that he was really rich, and so he got to be eccentric.
Who did
actually invent chocolate milk? No,
I was Googling it. Apparently it's Jamaican in origin.
Oh, great. So we're whitewashing Jamaican history?
Some Irish man has credit for it, but apparently it was already a thing, and he just added sugar to it from the Jamaican practice of putting I guess it was
in milk.
It looks like it was cacao shavings mixed with milk and cinnamon originally, and he was like, what if we added more sugar to it? And so Sir Hans Sloane is the man that has the credit for it, brought it to England. So,
okay. Well, in Nancy Drew canon, his name's Ezra Wickford.
Apparently it was originally marketed as medication. Guys, that'll cure everything. Drink chocolate milk when you don't feel well.
Unless you're lactose intolerant like me, in which case, don't do that.
Don't do that.
You might actually die. But so Ezra built this castle in the 1920s, from 1920 to 1927. But then in 1945, he mysteriously locks himself away inside of it and never talks to anyone again, purportedly. And now Christy Lane, who is the current owner, she is Ezra Wickford's great niece, and she inherited it after he died. We also learned that the weird tower that Nancy mentioned in her letter was added in 1924 after Ezra traveled to France and admired the Chateau Rochemont. And he bought it. He bought the tower and had it disassembled and shipped over and built the same way here. And we have to talk about this later because this is interesting lore. And I know that people did this with rooms, that was a popular kind of European thing, I think, to do at the time. But it makes no sense with the mystery.
You mean you've never purchased a chateau as a souvenir? Brought it back with you in your suitcase?
Well, yeah. So first of all, it's classic or rich people behavior. The most rich person thing I've ever heard outside of inventing chocolate milk. The next richest thing I've heard is just buying a room, having it disassembled and rebuilt somewhere else
from a royal chateau. Nonetheless.
Yeah. Room is a souvenir. But but we have to talk about the specifics of that later. The tower itself is like attached to the castle, but it's still sealed off. It is not open to the public. But Nancy is, of course, extremely interested in this tower. We also learned this is not the only thing that Wickford bought from the Chateau Rochemont. Okay, also, I just have to take a quick moment and apologize for all the butchering of like French words that I'm going to be doing.
You're doing it better than Nancy, so.
No, but listen, like Nancy's French, I think is probably the only reference I have for actual French.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And so it's going to be real bad. So yeah, this isn't the only piece of the chateau that he bought. He also bought the library and its contents from this chateau and had it shipped over and built it here and put all the books back in the library. So what an interesting guy.
Oh my gosh.
Something else important to note about our room is that there is a phone in here where we can call Ned and Bess and George for hints, but you will also get occasionally voicemails from other characters in the castle on your phone, and it is impossible to tell when you have one.
Yes.
It's my biggest pet peeve about this game. It's like you never know when the voicemails happen. It's supposed to have like a little light, and I guess you can kind of tell if it's illuminated when you like go up to the phone and look at it, but it's not really. It's something about like the coloring of it doesn't look like it's lit up to me at all. And
yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyway, so you should check your voicemail if you're playing this game for the first time. That's my big tip, my hot tip. Check your voicemail.
Check your voicemail.
But all of the interesting stuff in the castle is really outside. There are 3 basic floors: the main level with the lobby and the library, the floor above with all of the guest rooms, and then the basement where the ski office and the locker rooms are. There is a main set of stairs, a set of back stairs, and then an elevator also connecting all of the floors. On the main level, you can find a reception desk. Oh, I can't speak today. On the main level, you can find a reception desk where Dexter Egan, the caretaker, can be found during certain hours. And he's a pretty sassy guy. The radiator in Nancy's room is broken, and when Nancy mentions this to him, he tells us that, like, well, we just have to wait because there's only 24 hours in a day, and he's been busy because there's been a few incidents.
Oh.
He tells us that the library, which also I have to say he pronounces library, I'll never get over it, is off limits because it's been vandalized. Apparently he was just in there last night and it was fine, but when he checked it this morning, it was wrecked. So he called the police, but he doesn't actually know when they'll be able to get here because, again, we're trapped in this castle by a blizzard. So it's just locked and no one's allowed to go in there right now. He also tells us that in addition to the library being vandalized, that Professor Hotchkiss, who is another guest here at the castle, says that her room has been robbed and she refuses to tell him what has been taken. So, of course, Nancy graciously offers to help him out. And then he starts like doling out these tasks for us to complete. The first one is to get Hotchkiss's ski boots from the basement and deliver them to her. And on the way there, we can meet some other characters. We can meet Lisa Ostrom. She is another guest at this lodge. She's in a sitting room off of the entryway reception area. And she tells us that she is a photojournalist who is here doing a story about the castle. She also knows about the library vandalism and tells us further that the culprit has to be someone at the castle because the blizzard means that no one has been able to get in or out of the castle since last night. So our only suspects are Lisa, Professor Hotchkiss, Dexter, and then Jacques Brunet, who is a ski instructor who we may have not met yet. She also tells us further a little bit about these characters. She tells us that Hotchkiss is a nutty old woman, quote unquote, who talks to herself and hides in her room. And that Lisa's theory is that she might be like a French or a history teacher because she heard her speak some French. But of course, don't quote her on that because she barely passed Spanish in high school.
Same girl.
At some point, too, she'll also tell us that Jacques was a big deal skier, but apparently he choked at the Winter Olympics last year, and I guess moved to America out of shame.
Ouch. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah. Down in the basement, we can meet Jacques and get Hotchkiss's boots. Jacques tells us that we shouldn't be running errands for Dexter, and instead we should relax. He also then says that American girls can't separate business from pleasure. And then if we tell him, like, don't worry, we can take care of ourselves, he says in like a salty tone, like, yes, that's another great truth about American girls.
Okay, Jacques.
He's horrible. Can we just say he's supposed to be portrayed as being like this dreamboat French guy with like dark hair? And yes, even though I accept that, you know, computer generated images will never look attractive to me.
Right.
Even if I disregard that, he's awful. He's an awful guy. He's super sexist. He like simultaneously insults Nancy and still tries to flirt with her.
Uh-huh.
It's gross.
Even though he's engaged. Yeah. And by the way, this is the nicest he's going to be to us the entire game. Like, he gets way worse.
There's a point where like he just stops talking to us and we can never talk to him again.
Yeah.
So he's awful. I hate Jacques. He's my least favorite character in this game. But you know, he brazenly flirts with us, even though he then tells us that actually the reason why he's in Wisconsin is for his fiancée Isabel, who is studying at the University of Madison. Okay. He is originally from France and actually grew up in a town near the Chateau Rochemont, which obviously, you know, the tower and the library are from. And so he kind of has a little bit of a personal connection to the castle as well. When we finally are able to deliver Hotchkiss's boots to her room, which is kind of like on the second floor at the back of the castle, she will barely open the door and like we can't even see her face. Like it just cracks and we just hear her voice.
Yeah.
And she tells us just leave the boots at her door. And then she also like as she's talking to us will like consistently get Nancy's name wrong, which like she'll call her Francie and Mandy and what else does she say? Mandy she uses a lot. But yeah, she calls Nancy so many things, and that becomes a running joke throughout all of the PC games where Hotchkiss is featured, which is pretty funny.
And she can never remember where she knows us from either, because she's going to come back as a phone contact in I think 2 more games, and she's like, "Oh, you're that nice Mandy from the cheese tasting room in Wisconsin, aren't you?" It's like, no cheese, just Wickford Castle. And she's like, "I would remember if someone at Wickford Castle was handing out cheese, okay?" Thanks. So once we complete the boot errand for Hotchkiss, we check back in with Dexter, and this is when we start getting more and more of our chores that he assigns to us. First thing, the light in the back stairwell is out, so we have to go find the breaker box, which is in the basement. We have to do a little puzzle to figure out which is the correct switch for that. It's actually
trial and error.
Yeah, you just flip the switches and you get the lights back on. And then you come back to Dexter and he's like, "Oh, well, it's dinner time now, so go ask Hotchkiss what she wants for dinner." And this is another iconic joke from Hotchkiss that stuck around for quite a while.
Couscous.
Yes. Initially, when we go ask her what she wants for dinner, she asks for couscous. And so we could go tell Dexter, and he's like, "I don't even know what that is. Tell her to order something off the menu." So
I've never heard of couscous. Okay.
Couscous can be good, but like as its own dinner. Yeah.
I love couscous. Couscous are great. I would eat
delicious.
plain couscous.
I've done that.
Specifically in stuffed zucchini or stuffed peppers. Yeah. Love couscous. Anyway.
I've eaten couscous specifically because Hotchkiss told us about it in this game, you know?
Really?
Yes, as a child, I'd never heard of it either.
Did you ask your parents for it? Can we have couscous for dinner, Mom?
Probably, yes. I never heard of it, but it's so good. You can put Parmesan on there. You can put some peppers, whatever you want.
You can flavor it however you want.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
You can eat them cold. You can eat them hot.
But unfortunately, Wakeford Castle does not have couscous in stock. So we find her a menu and she orders off the menu. She wants not 1, not 2, but 50 fried chicken drumsticks.
We have to talk about this castle menu just in general, though. In my mind, Wickford Castle is supposed to be a somewhat luxury ski resort.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that Christy is away and Dexter's in charge right now and manning the front desk, which means that the vibes are significantly a lot less luxury than I think they would be under normal circumstances. However, the menu that we have in this game does not reflect the luxury vibes that I think this castle is supposed to be going for. Because also on the menu are ribs, chili cheese dogs, and a fried bologna sandwich.
Oh, I found the menu. Should I just read it to us here?
Go for it.
So yes, baby back ribs with creature of the night barbecue sauce is what it's called. Fried bologna sandwich supreme on white bread. Add potato chip sprinkles for 50 cents. Anchovy heaven Caesar salad with eternity of garlic croutons.
Time out. Adding 50-cent potato chip sprinkles to a fried bologna sandwich in 2001 is highway robbery.
The sandwich itself is $7.25.
It's expensive.
That is expensive.
For a fried bologna sandwich on white bread in 2001. You don't even get full potato chips on the sandwich.
Nope.
You get potato chip sprinkles for 50 cents. You could buy an entire bag of Lay's from a vending machine for 50 cents in 2001. Sorry. Continue.
You know, I never noticed that the drumsticks are all you can eat, but it does say all you can eat fried chicken drumsticks for $10. So she got a deal.
Maybe that's why she ordered the drumsticks, not because she's like, oh, you know, being such a big back or whatever, like wanted all those drumsticks, but it's actually because that's the best bang
deal
for your buck on that menu.
Yeah. The ribs are $11. The Caesar salad is $5.50. The something smoking chili cheese dog is $7.50, and the better than nothing broccoli surprise is $3.
Okay.
Desserts are all $4. We have a white cheddar ice cream log.
Ew.
Something called chocolate mayhem.
Okay.
Odyssey to Banana Land. Key to Enlightenment lime pie, and sugar-crusted rhubarb jerky royale.
Oh, golly.
I don't know what that means.
I need to talk to whatever artist was going ham on this menu because I bet they had the best time.
This was hilarious.
The better than nothing broccoli, which is the only vegetarian thing on the menu.
Supposedly, what's the broccoli surprise?
That's so true. What's the surprise of the broccoli surprise?
It's probably bacon.
But it's so absolutely bacon. It's the bacon crumbles that any salad you ordered in 2001 had on them. Because, by the way, it was you were considered a pariah if you didn't eat meat in 2001.
Yes, that's true.
As someone who became a vegetarian in 2005, it was bad.
Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine. In 2001. Oh my god, it's so funny. Okay.
If you look at all the menus from the different games, there's very few vegetarian options.
That's true. I'd probably, in this situation, I would probably cave and eat the Caesar salad.
Yeah.
Because, yes, it has anchovy in the dressing, but, like, that's probably the best we're going to get.
I'm just going to eat Odyssey to Banana Land for dinner. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Is there protein in bananas? Surely there is. Some protein.
Probably not. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yes. Anyway, we have to order. We have to get Hotchkiss's dinner order from her. She orders the 50 drumsticks, and then we have to go ask Jacques to defrost the big bag of chicken drumsticks because I guess they don't have 50 laying around.
Even though it's on the menu and it's dinner time. That's bad kitchen management.
Yes, it is. So we go down to ask Jacques about the drumsticks, and while we're down there, we can actually go open our locker that's in the ski rental area. Everybody in the everybody who's staying at the hotel gets like a locker to rent for their time there. And in our room, there was like a piece of paper that told us what our locker number is and what our combination was. But when we go use that combination, it just doesn't work. So we'll go ask Jacques about this. And he's like, oh, no, I think your paper was just wrong. That's actually the combination for the locker right next to it. Just try the locker next to it. And when we do this, that is indeed correct. That is the correct locker for us. But somebody else's stuff is already in here. This is actually Lisa's stuff. When we look through everything in here, we find a camera bag in here, which makes sense. But some other things don't make some sense here. We actually find a handful of passports and different IDs with Lisa's photo, but not Lisa's name. She's actually got a little like collection of aliases here. All different, like every passport has like a different name than the driver's licenses do. It's very strange. So maybe Lisa just isn't who she says she is, because there's also a full letter in here written like in fluent Spanish, which she just told us she doesn't speak Spanish. So that doesn't make any sense. We actually can confront Lisa about these IDs, but when we ask her about this, she's just like, oh, if you're a savvy photojournalist, then like you definitely already have some aliases, because you never know who you're going to have to lie to get into places or get the scoop from. What are you talking about?
Lisa.
Okay. So we go and do all these little chores and everything for Dexter and for Jacques. And then once we actually get the dinner order for Hotchkiss, she will finally now trust us enough to tell us a little bit more about what she's doing. And she actually tells us that she needs help fact checking things for her. And so if we agree to fact check for her, then she will talk to us a little bit more. So this is where we get that little quiz that you mentioned about like the French Revolution and Marie Antoinette and all the history there. And as you go throughout the castle, you can find different books about French history. And so you kind of have to do a little bit of research to find the answers to these questions. The questions actually change every time you play the game. So you'll get like randomized ones. And so you do have to do a little bit of searching. But if you answer her question successfully, she will tell you that she has a habit of spending her time during the witching hour, 3 to 6 a.m. She spends that time in the lobby doing her research, because I guess it's just a really good quiet time for her. Nobody else is around in the lobby. And so she invites us to actually come visit her during that time in the lobby. But yeah, so we will have the opportunity to set our alarm a little bit later. And so this is when it becomes really useful to kind of switch times to like put it to the middle of the night so you can go talk to her, or the daytime you can go talk to the other characters in their little spots.
Yeah. At this point too, I think is really when things shift and you can really start to do things in different orders, because at this point in the game, I think I put off talking to Hotchkiss for too long.
Oh, really?
Because I was focused on exploring. And not like progressing through like her stuff. So I was like, I kind of had to like stack her stuff together later. But
oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But at this point, you do really need to figure out how to get into the locked library. Everybody keeps talking about the library, and it is the scene of the crime. Unfortunately, the door is locked. You can get the key from behind Dexter's desk when he's not there if you're snooping around in the middle of the night, but the room has an alarm, so he'll catch you and trigger a second chance if you just try to go in with the key without knowing the alarm code. What you can do, though, is crawl through the elevator shaft. If you crawl around the elevator shaft from the basement, you will hear like a strange sawing sound, kind of depending on when you go in there. After your radiator is fixed, Dexter will leave an oil can in your room, and you can use that to grease this trap door that is on that basement level of the elevator shaft to get into it. But you can, once you start going down that passageway, you see that it's blocked by the elevator, so you can't get any farther into that at this point. But so once you're in this elevator shaft, though, there is a ladder that is built into the wall. And from the basement level, you can reach this ladder and climb up through it, or climb up it into an open air duct, crawl through that air duct. And then on the other side of the air duct is the library. So upon entering this library for the first time, you hear someone coming, and you kind of have to rush back up into the vent to hide again before they catch you. But then you can watch through the vent as Dexter enters the library, disarms the alarm code, and then he says, Darn you, crazy old man. I know you hid that thing around here somewhere. The least you could have done was left me a hint. And then he leaves. What? That was interesting. What could that have meant? To ponder. But now we can come out and explore the library. We do see that it really has been torn up, quite literally. I mean, there's an actual hole in the drywall. Books are scattered everywhere. Furniture is overturned. There are a few things that we can do in the library. There are lots of books in here about Marie Antoinette, so you can learn a lot more about the French Revolution in the library. One thing you do need to make sure you can do is dust the alarm panel for Prince to find out the alarm code using a paintbrush that Jacques leaves outside of the ski office door and some dust from a nearby table. There's also an article in a magazine in our room, which kind of gives us a little bit of a hint about how to do this. It's the Sassy Detective magazine, which is a bit of a recurring little Easter egg in some of the games. So if you're confused at all, make sure you peruse that. It'll give you some tips on that. And then you also need to make sure to investigate the globe. If you flip the little top piece of it, you can push a button and it opens up, and inside is a piece of paper with a kind of code on it. That leads you to what I think is it called a sextant?
I have no idea. I think so.
It's a sextant.
I feel
which
like yes.
is like a ship navigation tool. There's this little doodad over the fireplace in the library, and you can basically use this code with this little doodad and enter it into it using the buttons. I'm not explaining this very well, but you'll get it if you play the game. And if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. And
it's just a puzzle.
It's just a puzzle.
Yeah.
Once you do that successfully, you'll hear this horrible squeaking sound, which I think is supposed to be a door opening. It's really not clear what is happening when you're hearing this. So if you're playing this for the first time, you probably have no idea what's going on. It is a secret door that's opening. And if you go back upstairs, you will see that there is this hidden room off to the side on this upper level of the library, and that is what you have opened with the little doodad. If you go in there, it's dark, but you can light a candle, and this lightens the room, but it also reveals a key hidden in the wax of this candle. The candle, once you light it, it melts, and a key will come out. How was this made, Kori? I need to know.
Well, the wax was still wet, right?
Sure, absolutely. But when the key is bigger than the circumference of the candle. So there are two ways you can make a candle. You can make a candle using a mold, or you can make a candle dipping the wick into, maybe there's another way that I don't know about. I don't know. But if you're making a candle using a mold, you cannot have a key that is bigger than the mold, because then you wouldn't be able to see the key. The key wouldn't fit into it.
Oh my gosh. I've never thought about this.
If you were making a dipped candle, you wouldn't be able to hold the key in there while you're dipping it. Also, it was a thick pillar candle. So dipping a thick pillar candle is going to take a long time. Nobody would actually do that. You would use a mold.
And it wouldn't look like a pillar. It would look kind of tapered at the top because of how dipped candles work. Yeah.
Correct. So how did the key get in there?
I mean, chocolate milk secrets, I guess. When you're the inventor of chocolate milk, maybe you just have capabilities the rest of us don't. I don't...
Yeah. Anyway, this is just one little pet peeve of mine. I don't understand how the key got in there.
Also, the least unhinged thing in this room, because goodness.
True. But I do think that Ezra Wickford must have been some kind of magician, because what the heck is that? Anyway. So we learn that this room was actually Ezra Wickford's old private study. On the desk, you can see some of his different things. There's actually a sad poem that Ezra Wickford wrote about how he misses his son, who we learn is Dexter.
Oh my gosh.
And the poem is oh, I'm no longer angry with you for apparently stealing $50. And the poem also says oh, if you ever read this poem, I've left you a keepsake in the garden in the back of my head. What? What is this? Okay, first of all, we need to talk about the fact that he was apparently super pissed about Dexter for stealing $50 from his wallet. And that apparently, let's talk. We'll talk about the whole Dexter, his father relationship later when we have a little bit more details. But so that's in there. We also see in this office on the wall are like a bunch of pinned bugs. And now that maybe is quirky, but not necessarily super unusual. He collects bugs. Okay. Until, Kori, you look closer at these bugs on the wall and see that what is written underneath these bugs is not the name of the bug. It's not the scientific name or even the common name of what these bugs are. He has named them people's names, like pet names for these bugs that he has pinned to a board. It's like Sally, Dawn, Rupert, George.
Yeah. So were these his pets that he then kept their bodies of? Or like, did he kill them or just like pin them up after they died? Or did he just like find dead bugs, decide to collect them, put them in the case and was like, I'm going to name their dead bodies?
Or he collected the bugs, killed them, and then named their bodies like little trophies that he was calling people.
Yeah, it's that one.
People's
It's definitely
names.
that. Yeah, that's what he did.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh my gosh.
Then
Well,
what serial killer kind of behavior is it to kill a bug and be like, I'm going to name you after my neighbor who I hate? Like,
well, and then scrapbooking the low points of your child's life. Like,
yes. So
this
also
man was
in
weird.
the study, we can find 2 scrapbooks that apparently Ezra Wickford made. One of them is titled When He Was Good, He Was Very Good. And inside of that scrapbook are like, you know, all of like these really great things that Dexter apparently did, like winning a Boy Scouts award and like getting like perfect attendance or like whatever. And then the other scrapbook, that's a normal scrapbook. Like, yeah, parents might keep a scrapbook of their children's accomplishments. That makes sense. The other scrapbook is titled When He Was Bad, He Was Horrid. And inside of it is like all of the bad things that Dexter has ever done, like crimes he's committed. All of these things include, let's just name a few of them. Throwing rocks at school windows, stealing the $50 from him, which we've already talked about a little bit, and cashing fake checks and going to prison.
The scrapbook even has like a voided copy of one of the the hot checks.
Get that? How did you get that?
Why would you want to keep that for memory lane?
He would have had to call the police and been like, excuse me, can I have evidence, some of the evidence that you have against my son?
So that I can put it in my scrapbook.
So that I can put it in my scrapbook for future perusal. So I can remind myself how much I hate him.
What a treasured memory.
Because we also see in this scrapbook, When He Was Bad, He Was Horrid, a letter that Ezra Wickford wrote to his attorney, writing Dexter out of his will after he disowns him.
But he forgives him for the $50 he took from his wallet.
But apparently, at some point when he had locked himself here inside this castle, he wrote a sad poem about how sorry he was for, like, you know, blowing up at Dexter after he stole $50 out of his wallet.
Okay, I know that obviously this would have been the 40s, inflation, like $50 was not an insignificant amount of money at the time.
I guess.
But it doesn't seem like enough to be disowning amount of money, you know? Like, especially for this man who's so rich.
We have to talk about the time breakdown of this too, because this game came out in 2001. It's supposed to be modern, like, day.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be set in 2001.
Right, set in 2001. We know, based on the brochure in Nancy's room, that the castle was built in the 20s by Ezra Wickford and that he locked himself away in the 40s. Now, presumably, he locked himself away because of all the stuff that was going on with Dexter, meaning that Dexter was in the castle as a child in the 40s. Right?
Was Dexter born in the 40s or the 20s? I don't remember.
Well, I'm presuming, based on what we learn later, because Dexter runs away, I'm sure because his dad was an asshole. But so Dexter runs away when he's, I think, like, still a teenager. He's like maybe 16,
no, you're right.
17.
So 40s then. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that would have been, I think, 1947 is when he locks himself away and never speaks to anyone again. So that means Dexter was probably born in like 1940, 1941. So Dexter would be today like 60 years old.
He's supposed to be an older guy because he's like bald. He's got some wrinkles.
But he doesn't look 60.
I think yeah.
Really?
I think he's intended to be like in his 60s. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. When I see Dexter, I see maybe someone. He looks late 40s to me.
He could, yeah, but I think that's just the animation of the time.
Maybe. So. Okay. Well, yeah. All right. I guess maybe he looks really great in his 60s. Whatever. That's maybe. Fine. But I just feel like, dang. And I guess it is hard to wrap my brain around it too because it's 2025. And I still don't really feel like it's 2025. No. I feel like it's actually probably 2007.
Yeah.
maybe 2015. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, no. So time just moves fast, guys, and we age too quickly. Anyway.
Yes, this is true.
Anyway.
But what a unhinged man. $50.
Seriously. $50.
I know that there's like that's not his only crime. There's context if he'd had other behavioral issues first. But disowning someone, your only child, over $50.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out. How much we're gonna do the inflation was. Let's say 1947. Today, sure January, whatever, $50. Oh. $753.
Okay, that is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, but it's not like 10 grand.
For the inventor of chocolate milk?
For the inventor of chocolate milk.
That's nothing.
Who is importing, towers from France.
I guess he regretted it later, wrote that poem, so maybe he realized later that was a little bit of a harsh reaction.
Also, I think we have to talk about, too, I think it says in the scrapbook that you find that Dexter's adopted.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. So this man adopted a child on purpose. So it wasn't like, I raised a child and I was a bad dad. And they ended up this way out of, whatever. He adopts a child on purpose. It's been 16 years or whatever. The child steals money and gets into a little bit of trouble at school. And then you are like, no, I'm disowning them. It's just wild behavior. Seems like more rich people behavior. It's like you just expect that like the child's going to show up in your home and just be like this perfect angel, which is also probably very like a 1940s sentiment probably.
Sure.
But like, wait, no, he couldn't have been born he'd had to have been born in 1930.
Yeah, probably in the 30s.
Why did I say 1940? He had to have been born in 1930, which means he would be 70.
Oh yeah.
See, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what adoption would have been like in the 40s, but I know that now it is a long, difficult process. Like you have to really want that child. Yes. And then to disown them over behavioral issues when you know that an adopted child is not going to have probably the healthiest early years and so needs some extra help to adjust. Like that's a big adjustment to go through an adoption.
I think it obviously at the time period, the perception around how children are supposed to behave, why children act the way that they do was a lot different. And even today, there is still a really strong bias against kids who are adopted. People think that like, well, genetically, right? Like there's something bad in them. People sometimes think of them as being bad kids, right? Which is like obviously not the case, kids aren't born bad.
It couldn't be the trauma, certainly not, right?
So it's just like but to think about like Ezra Wickford's behavior, yes, I think we can apply a little bit of like the lens of the time period to explain some of it. But also I just think it was just prickish behavior in general to like want a child, bring the child into your home and they get pissed when the child uses some of your money. Like, what did you think having a child was going to be? Like, you're certainly wealthy enough to be able to afford to adopt a child, wealthy enough to be able to raise a child. And then when the child steals from you, which I understand is a crime, everyone, I understand, like morally, that's bad. 16 years old.
There's the principle of the matter, but you're also the parent. You should be guiding him and telling him why this is wrong, working with him to figure out a way to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
I don't understand. It's just, he seems like a really bad father.
Yeah.
Just like, it's like terror of a dad.
But don't worry, he left him a souvenir inside of a statue of himself.
A cryptic, like, self-flagellating poem. Like, this is the thing, is like, he didn't just write like a heartfelt letter being like, I'm really sorry that we fell out. I overreacted about the money. I made a bad decision. I wish we could reconnect. Here is this thing that I have left for you. Here's where I have left it. No, he writes a bad poem.
A bad poem.
A bad poem, which is like just the most cringe, like narcissistic type of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaves like a cryptic line in there about some kind of inheritance he's left him.
Never mind that he leaves said poem in a locked room that Dexter doesn't know how to get into.
Yes.
How is he going to find this, let alone find the thing that he left for him in the statue? What? Mm-hmm. Ezra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Take your chocolate milk and shove it. Sorry.
No, that's the vibe.
Yeah. Anyway,
you have to take it from here.
Okay. Yes. Gosh. Okay. So we're in the library. There's that secret passageway for Ezra's old study or whatever. And then, like you said, there's the air vent that takes you from the elevator shaft to the library. So eventually, at some point after climbing around in the elevator shaft and using it, you get stuck in the elevator, like it gets stuck between floors. And so you are forced to exit the elevator through the roof of the elevator. Then you're like on top of the elevator. And then you have to like jump up to the next floor so that you can get out. Yeah, this is super dangerous. And if you do the jump wrong, Nancy can end up dying and you get a second chance. And then there's like, you have to like reset the elevator at some point with that breaker box because it's now stuck, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But now we know, of course, that we can get into the elevator shaft from the library.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the basement where that like weird secret passageway goes, it's blocked by the elevator itself. So how do we get through the library, through the elevator shaft if the elevator's in the way? I don't know, greatest puzzle in the entire series, perhaps. And like you said, we already have that key from Dexter's desk for the front door of the library. And we now have that alarm code that we figured out from dusting for prints. So now it is time to get into the tower. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I cannot describe how satisfying this is. So how you do this is, so again, the library is on the first floor of the building, and then we've got the basement below that, which is where the secret passageway leads. So we're going to call the elevator away from the basement. So you want to call the elevator up to the first or second floor. I usually do the first floor because then you can exit the elevator and go straight into the library. So you'll unlock the library door, use the code to disarm the alarm, and then you'll go up into the vent, climb down through the, what is it called? The air vent thing.
Ladder. Yeah.
Yes, and then you'll climb down the ladder, and then this will allow you to access that trap door. And there's a little puzzle that you have to do, but then this opens up a secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel!
And yes, I do believe that this is time dependent because the sawing sounds will only happen at night. And so if you go down into the secret tunnel at night, you'll actually run into Jacques down here. And we're not in the actual tower just yet. We're in just like a network of tunnels that's like, I guess, behind the library somewhere.
This is wild because these tunnels are long. Like,
yes.
These are big spaces, but like when you think about like the positioning of where you actually got down into this portion of the castle, it doesn't seem like there should be that much room in between where you come down and where the tower is. Like, it's a little weird. You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But we also end up in like this dungeon room looking place. Like you come down this tunnel and then it opens up into this big room, but it's got all these like bars and there's even like a suit of armor behind one, like someone was in prison there or something. It's
Which
creepy.
is crazy because when you think about the fact that this place was supposed to have been deconstructed from Paris or wherever, the Chateau Rochemont, and then brought over here and reconstructed, that means that if there was a body down here, then what they did was ship it over from France and put it right back in the same spot.
That was a choice. Someone chose to do that. Yeah. But there's also like a passageway that leads off of this dungeon room that we're in, but that has an iron gate in front of it. And so you can't access that gate.
Another option is that it's not actually like a real body. And what this was supposed to be was like either Christy Lane or, Ezra Wickford was setting it up as like an attraction type of thing. And it's like a dummy supposed to look like someone who's been in prison there, which is also weird for other reasons. But like...
It is weird, but I like that explanation the best.
Because it means there's not actually a body
inside that suit of armor. I would assume it's just a suit of armor that they've set up in the corner or whatever.
Surely.
But yes, so we do need to get down that tunnel that has the gate in front of it because obviously we need to go further into these tunnels to actually access the tower. But this is where we find Jacques, right? So he has a handsaw and he's like hacking at this iron gate trying to open it because he also doesn't know how to get in here. And so he like turns around when we come in the room and he gets like shocked that we've found him in here. And so he tells us like, don't tell anyone that I'm doing this. Like, I'm so sorry. I promise I will tell Christy as soon as possible. Just don't tell anyone because I don't want to get deported over this.
Right.
But he does end up explaining. He says, yes, he is trying to find his way into the tower, but he is not the one who vandalized the library. That was somebody else. He had nothing to do with it. He actually just wants to get into the tower because he's trying to recover a valuable French historical document that he happens to know is there. And he wants to do this because he thinks that doing so will make up for his failure at the Olympics and will allow him to regain popularity in France or whatever.
Thank you, Jacques.
But this is where we get his backstory. So he explains that his great-grandfather was actually a master carpenter who was one of the men who worked on dismantling this building when Ezra Wickford bought it. During the work, he actually ended up finding a secret compartment in one of the walls of the tower. And by the way, the Chateau Rochemont was the place where Marie Antoinette was imprisoned during the French Revolution. So he thinks that this secret compartment could have something to do with Marie Antoinette herself. Inside the compartment was an old journal with a royal crest on the cover and a medallion with a blue stone, like inlaid in the medallion. But great-grandfather, as he's finding this, he heard someone coming, so he had to like hide it back into the compartment before anybody else could see that he had found this. And then, of course, it got dismantled, shipped away before he ever had a chance to go back and read this journal, right? And great-grandfather kept this a secret because he didn't want anyone to go find the journal, I guess. But then on his deathbed, he told Jacques about it. So now that's why Jacques knows about this. And grandfather actually kept the medallion and gave it to Jacques. It's just the journal that's still in the compartment.
Well, I think the reason that Jacques cites as the reason why he didn't tell anyone about it is because he didn't want to get accused of interfering with the project, which is like, I don't really understand this.
Yeah.
This whole thing. I don't understand why he wouldn't tell someone about it or be like, hey, there's this weird journal in here. I don't know why he would have a vested interest in it himself. Right. I mean, there's possible reasons why. I don't know. Maybe he had something against Marie Antoinette, or I don't know what the vibe was about the French Revolution in the 1920s in France. Maybe there was some like kind of contention. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure in some ways they were still healing from that. It was a pretty terrifying time in history, but like, I just don't understand what this whole like interfering with the project, what that means. Like, is finding the journal going to impact the tower being moved in some way? maybe, I guess, if like we want to say that like, oh, it's significant to like French history, but of course it already was. That's where Marie Antoinette was imprisoned.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't really get it, but
And also, wouldn't it be like a celebratory thing that like, oh, you made this amazing discovery? And
it would
also,
be, oh wow, great.
don't you think if they had made this discovery before they dismantled everything, they would have stopped the project and said, what else is hidden in here that we're about to destroy by dismantling this? Like, what else was in that building that got destroyed?
Presumably the people who are working on this are other French people. Like,
Right.
it's in France where they're dismantling this tower. It's not like Ezra Wickford is going to send, like, you know, foreign workers over to France to, you know, do this for him. I mean, like, I could understand that maybe like the building company has a vested interest in dismantling the tower so that they can get their money. But
surely they could get more money if it was then proven that this was Marie Antoinette's tower. They could be like, oh yeah, was Ezra Wickford, the price tag just went up now that we found this. Like, you would think that this would be a good thing for him.
I guess it depends on the contract, and like, you know, they're probably like a contracted building company. It's not like they own the place. It's probably the owner of the chateau agreed to allow this to be sold, but like, yeah, I don't know.
It's a little strange, but
a little weird.
But yes, that's the reason he kept it secret. And now Jacques feels this obligation to go and find this on behalf of his grandfather and for all of France. And he is absolutely certain that the journal in question must have belonged to Marie Antoinette. And he thinks that the contents of this could change history and perhaps our perception of Marie Antoinette as it is. So he asks us for our help. He tells us that actually the medallion, the blue stone medallion that his grandfather gave him, he keeps it in his locker at work, because where else would you store it? So he says, you know, go get the medallion for me. He gives us the combination, and then he says, I'll meet you back in the locker room just in a few minutes. So we go to Jacques' locker, we open it up, and we snoop a little bit first before we take anything. We see a letter from immigration saying that his visa is going to be up next month. Yeah, this was a little bit pre 9/11, so maybe is how it worked back then. I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, it is August.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that they would mail you a letter saying
like this
courtesy.
This game came out the month before 9/11.
Yes, it did.
Just realized that.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh. But we probably played it post 9/11.
Yeah, probably.
Almost.
I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah.
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 This is so wild to think about.
If you don't know, the reason I bring that up, 9/11 changed a lot of the way that we did things immigration-wise for USCIS and all the organizations that work with them. Immigration procedures changed significantly after 9/11. So I was like, it's really weird that they'd send you a letter notifying that your visa is up, because it's like not a thing that happens now. Your visa's just up when it is up, and it's your responsibility to do what you're going to do next.
Or renew. Yeah.
Well, and just because your visa's up doesn't mean your ability to stay is up.
Yeah, no, yeah.
A visa doesn't equate to your legal presence.
Your right to work, and it depends on the visa type, or right to be a student, or
sure. Yeah, your visa is literally just your ticket into the US. It's just a document that says you are eligible to enter the country, but it doesn't say like you're allowed to stay here. That's a different document that would
like
be
a legal order of like to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, I always equate it to like a house key. Like your visa will get you in, but it doesn't mean that you have the deed to the house. You know, it doesn't give you permission to stay, but it just lets you physically into the door.
That's a great explanation. Thanks, Kori.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you. But anyway, so yes, we find a letter from immigration saying that he's got some visa issues coming up, supposedly. There's also a book in here on diamonds about like, you know, cut, quality, color, whatever the 4 C's are. Which, I mean, I guess is relevant because he's got a fiance. We find this letter from Isabel, the fiance. She's complaining a little bit because I guess Jacques hasn't bought her a ring yet. So I guess it explains. Yeah, I guess it explains why you have a book on diamonds. Or there could be other reasons. Yeah, there could be other reasons. And there is a medallion in here, a green medallion, actually. in his locker. He's got a green stone, not a blue one. That's weird. And so, as promised, Nancy reaches up to grab it and she pockets it. But as soon as she does, we get thwapped on the head from behind. And then we just wake up in our room with Jacques calling, saying, "What the heck happened?"
Great question. So we can tell him that we don't know what happened. We just woke up in our room, but we don't have the medallion anymore. And this is when he gets so pissed at us.
Mhm.
He's like so angry. And even when we like talk to him downstairs, he tells us that us like getting attacked was like us quote unquote having a cat nap. And he also says he's going to be ruined by you American women.
I always have cat naps on random locker room floors. That's where I take my naps.
Not that we were attacked. It's like he thinks that like we're lying or something about it and that we've stolen the medallion.
Oh, that's 100% what it is. Doesn't even ask us if we're okay.
No.
Found us unconscious and didn't do anything.
No, he didn't find us unconscious. We actually learned because Dexter leaves us a voicemail.
No, you're right.
That it's Dexter who finds us unconscious in the locker room. But so actually that means that Jacques didn't even come back to the locker room because we met Jacques
that's right.
in the middle of the night down in the tunnel or whatever. And so was Dexter up in the middle of the night and just happened to see us there? Or did Jacques never show up?
Both.
And then so Dexter then came in. Like how long were we unconscious in that locker room?
Yeah, we could have been in there until 8 o'clock in the morning and Dexter just came in to unlock things
when he
or
was
something.
Turning things on. Like, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good point.
So Jacques is such an a-hole. He's horrible. I hate him.
You're totally right. He never came down to the locker room.
He never came down. So he's like, yeah, take the medallion. You can go take it. And then when we get attacked and we don't have it anymore, he blames us for stealing it, basically, even though we're like, no, where were you? Clearly, you didn't care that much about it.
I think we can even say to him, like, how do we know it wasn't you that hit us over the head?
Yeah, no, we can't. Yeah, that is an option.
I don't remember what he says in response, but basically after this, the only thing he'll say to you is like, keep the stupid medallion. It's yours.
The stupid medallion. It's yours, is what he says. So he thinks we have it.
And we can never talk to him again.
No.
I don't know why little me, I can remember having another conversation after this, but there isn't one.
No, I could never trigger anything.
I just like assumed that there would be another conversation with him at some point to wrap this up.
At some point there would be some closure where he like admits, I'm sorry, I made an assumption or something like that.
Nope.
Yeah. And it'd be like, I really hope we can find whatever is in there, Nancy. Like
Never apologizes.
No.
We can never say anything ever to him ever again.
If you've ever had a conversation with Jacques in this game after this point, please write in and tell us what he says, because I would be so interested, because I've never managed to have that happen. So anyway, so Dexter tells us, like in that voicemail where he tells us, you know, he tells us to come down and talk to him at the front desk. And when we go, that's when he tells us that he was the one who found us. And he tells us when he found red dirt on our shoes, and he asks us where the red dirt came from. And so we can choose to kind of come clean here about whether or not we were in the tower tunnel or not. But whenever you do come clean about this, then Dexter will kind of open up to you as well. He'll tell us that he's like impressed because when he was a kid, he was always trying to obsessively get into the castle. And I don't really understand this transition, because it's like somehow it's just like he says that like what he was here when he was a kid, but he never like explains why, or he never explains that Ezra was his dad. It's just kind of assumed that we know at that point that he is.
I think I have gotten a conversation with him about that before.
Maybe it's because I did it in the wrong order, or like I did it out of order. So maybe there are some issues with that, but I was really confused because I was like, wait, how are you just saying that you were here when you were a kid?
Oh,
and
yeah.
We haven't even talked about the fact that Ezra was your dad or adopted dad. But Anyway, and when he did finally figure out how to get into the tower, he talks about how his dad Ezra was really proud of him. But in general, Dexter won't say too much about Ezra, except for the fact that he just quote unquote like gives up on people. He's a little reticent to talk about him, but eventually he will confess that he left home at 16, and then they never spoke again after that, which we've already kind of talked about a little bit.
That's so young to be on your own.
Yeah. And Dexter also tells us that since we figured out how to get in on our own, that we deserve to be able to go up into the tower. We basically earned it. And he says that there is a skeleton gate to get through that locked gate that Jacques was trying to saw through in the maintenance shed outside. And the blizzard has calmed down enough that we can actually leave the castle and go get it. And we can ask too if there is a private garden or wherever that Ezra liked to spend his time, and he says that like yes, there's one back behind the maintenance shed, and so we know okay, so this must be the garden that Ezra mentioned in his poem. So we can exit the castle now via the door in the locker room, and I chose to go into the garden first to go ahead and get what was out there. This garden is the wackiest little walled garden that I've ever seen. There are statues of flying monkeys in here.
He was a big Wizard of Oz fan.
This guy was wild. Also, apparently, the garden was made in memorial of someone named Eleanor Wickford, which presumably I'm guessing was Ezra Wickford's deceased wife.
There's years on the plaque as well. I was trying to remember if it was his wife or maybe his mother because of the years on there, but now I don't remember what the years were. So
let me see if I can find a picture. Oh, she died in 1944.
Okay.
Yeah, this is on a Reddit thread. Memory of Eleanor Wickford, who died in 1944.
Does it say a birth year?
Dexter's first acts of truancy, I don't know, but in this Reddit thread, they're really going. Thank you to the Nancy Drew subreddit. Thank you specifically to Waiting For It, who posted this 5 years ago. They said, if we go back to the journals, Dexter's first acts of truancy at his school were early in 1945. And their theory here, Waiting_For It's theory, is that Dexter's first acts of truancy may have been due to the fact that his adopted mom died and he may have been mourning for her.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. And then he runs away or gets kicked out possibly. And that's sad. But according to that timeline, if we can know that she died in 1944 and that he was certainly adopted by that time, because they have pictures of him when he was like young, like maybe a little bit older than a toddler, which would have been in the 30s. Then he knew her. He had an adopted mom.
I'm so sad.
It's really sad. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm also trying to Google to see if I can figure out the birth year.
Surely it was even if it wasn't his wife, probably a mother figure to Dexter, at the very least.
Yeah, a grandma can certainly be.
Yeah. It makes me... I could probably load into the game really quick and load up my last save. I can probably go out there.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, no, I don't want to make you do all that. It's okay.
Well, it'll just... I don't know if I can... Let me try. Let me just try.
Okay.
The things we do, you guys. 1873.
1873. So she was in her 70s then when she died.
It's probably his mom.
It could have been his mom, but we also don't know how old Ezra was when he adopted Dexter,
That's
right?
True. We don't. He could have been older.
I'm going to guess it was his mom, but I also don't think we should rule out wife entirely because of that.
Well, because we don't know when Christy inherited the castle. But presumably it was somewhat recently because like the repairs they're having. I'm going to look at the brochure in Nancy's room. 1920, 1945, Ezra locks himself away. Inherited and reopened by his great niece Christy Lane in 1990. Oh, okay, but it says after Wickford's death, the castle was closed down for many years, its fate unknown until it was finally inherited. and reopened by his great niece Christy Lane in 1990.
And that's why the repairs, because it's been
a while. Yeah, those took a while. So, but that means then that we don't know when he died exactly. It could
I
have
would
been
guess
any
like
time.
40s or 50s, but
Right. So it could have been wife. Could have been wife.
yeah. Alrighty. Well, there we go. No
Mystery
answer.
solved. Well, I mean, somewhat. Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, the garden.
The garden, yeah.
The garden's wild. And in it, we can find that there is like this bust, which I think is supposed to be a bust of Ezra Wickford.
Yes.
And if you like turn this like arrow thing, it'll turn the bust around and you can pull a lever and a little secret compartment will open. And inside of that secret compartment is a box that has a red medallion in it that is identical to the green one that we found in Jacques' locker.
Mm-hmm.
What? This is when things get real weird.
Mm-hmm.
So the shed is also outside. And so we can go ahead and go into that as well and get the key to open the gate to go into the tower finally.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, as you said, that opens the gate that Jacques was trying to saw through. So we'll go back into the tunnels that are like behind the library or whatever. And then once we open that gate and then get past that, there's a couple of like puzzles that you'll have to do is like pull some chains to get across this like scary pit that's randomly in the bottom of the floor. You get across the pit and then there's another tunnel that will take you down to the base of the tower. There is like a prison cell at the base of the tower. It's literally just like a carved out little section of the wall with a door on it, and no ceiling.
No
either.
Ceiling, no roof.
It's just like this open cage, I guess.
Like an omelette situation.
Yeah, it's strange. And then there are some stone stairs. But if you go up this stone staircase, some of the stairs are just missing. Like they've been like retracted into the wall. So if you go back down to the base of the stairs, there's a puzzle that you have to solve. And when you solve that puzzle, that will get the stairs to slide back out. And then you can finally make your way into the tower room.
Woo-hoo.
There is a button next to the door of the tower room that will make the stairs slide back in. So you have to make sure you don't push that. Otherwise, Nancy will just like fall down the stairs or whatever. So you get inside the tower room and it is gorgeous in here. I swear the entire thing is like gold leaf or whatever. And there's these like feather panels. Like there's these gold panels in the wall that have gold feathers on them. And then there's also a portrait of Marie Antoinette that is made out of tiles. So it's like this really pretty mosaic almost. And it's just Marie Antoinette holding a purple rose is the image. And then on the floor of the tower room, there is a panel of like a crest almost. And there's like some symbols on the crest. And then there's like, how do you even say this? Like a little hollow space that Nancy describes as looking like a keyhole. And then if you go back over to the panels on the walls, you'll see that there's actually like a little puzzle there. You have to put the feathers all in the right place. And then when that opens up, a secret panel or like a secret compartment opens up inside. And then you find the journal that Jacques' great-great-grandfather was talking about. So the journal is all in French. So who do we know that speaks French that might know a little bit about French history? Oh, yeah, Professor Hotchkiss. So whenever we talk to her, we can ask her more about her room robbery. She says that the stolen object was a keepsake from a friend and a really important cornerstone of this theory that she's working on. Because I guess she's writing a book or something currently, but she won't say any more about this. She will tell us about what she's working on, though. She says that she is a scholar of French history, particularly about Marie Antoinette's life, and she is convinced that Marie was misunderstood during her life and that this building has evidence in it that will change the world's perspective about Marie Antoinette. That let them eat cake thing was all nonsense and she was a nice person and, you know. But she gives us permission. She actually gives us a copy of her room key card and says, anytime you want to, as long as I'm not in there at the time, just go on into my room. You're free to read anything in there. Yes, ma'am, okay. We will gladly take your key and go snoop.
Say less.
Yes. And she will also tell us about Marie's infamous tiara. I think Marie even like personally wrote about this tiara and said that she hated it, but
Yeah, it's in like several books too. It's mentioned in several books in the castle too. So you probably like had by this point have seen something about it.
she called it, was it the crown of misfortune or something like that? What did she call
Diamond of
it?
misery.
The diamond of misery, yeah. But basically, she had this tiara that she hated that was super fancy. And then after the revolution broke out, it just disappeared. And nobody has seen it since. And there were some rumors that she'd had it destroyed because she hated it so much. But obviously, she got murdered before anybody could find it. So nobody knows the truth about where this tiara went. And Hotchkiss says that she will bite us like a rabid dog if we don't hand over that journal to her right now. And we're like, well, obviously, because we need you to translate it for us anyway. So we give her the journal and she promises to have the translation ready for us tomorrow night.
So now that we can check out Hotchkiss's room, we should definitely do that. And you can go into her room and you can read all of her notes about Marie Antoinette. You can also open up this briefcase that she has and see this letter that she has from her friend named Helga von Handeldorf, sorry, who tells her that she must be onto something about the quote unquote medallion and stained glass window. So apparently Hotchkiss also has a medallion. Could this be what was stolen from her room? Possibly. She mentioned like a keepsake from a friend. She has a letter from a friend mentioning the medallion. Could this be it? But also, I don't know when exactly this happens in the game. This happened to be the first time that I went into Hotchkiss's room.
Oh, really?
Yes, but you can do this earlier. So I'm not sure when this shows up, but at some point you can look underneath the pillow on her couch, and underneath the pillow on her couch is a medallion. With a blue stone in it. Right?
Let me find where he says it. Because Jacques is the blue one, right?
It's supposed to be, but I don't think it's the one that's actually in there. You said it was green, and I trust you.
Yes, in the locker it's green, but when Jacques tells us about his great-grandfather's medallion, it's blue.
Correct.
I think that what triggers this is Nancy getting hit over the head, because when you find the medallion in Hotchkiss's room, it's blue.
It's blue.
Implying that she somehow stole Jacques, and so Jacques got swapped with the green one somehow. But there's a blue one, a green one, and a red one.
But then why would Jacques have the green one?
Why would Jacques have the green one?
Weird. It's very weird. But also in her room, on her dresser, is a video camera, and we can watch the recording that is loaded in there. It's Hotchkiss walking around the castle, kind of admiring the architecture and art, particularly in this one tower room that you can actually get to that's around the corner from Hotchkiss's room. And she sees something in the wall, and she gasps. But then the battery to the camera dies and we can't finish the video. So you actually have to charge it and then come back the next night to see it. But so if at some point later in the day after finding, I think this is when, after you find Jacques' medallion, after you get hit over the head the first time, you can talk to Lisa as well. And she will tell us that she actually saw Dexter walking to the shed with a green ornament in his hand.
This is what makes us think that Dexter knocked us out, because if he's got the green one and he's who found us,
could have been him. Maybe he took it from us. So that was the one we saw in Jacques' locker. So let's go out there. So if we go out to the shed, you do find the green medallion. There's also a rat that like walks in front of him, which is really gross. But yeah, so we can get out there, find the green medallion. It's just been left out here. What the heck? So then we take it, but then when we go to try and get back into the castle, the door is locked. And I guess for some reason, Nancy can't put on a coat. So she's like shivering and is in danger of like, you know, getting too cold and is going to die unless we can figure out how to like alert someone to our presence out here. But in the shed, there is like the controls for the ski lift. And so you can do a little quick puzzle to get that turned on and working again. And then Dexter will come out to our rescue. And yeah, and then that's that. But also Nancy chooses to like not ask him about the medallion, which I always found a really weird part of the game. Like, why wouldn't we include, because Lisa told us that you took it out there. Wouldn't we want to ask and then have him have the opportunity to deny? He could at the very least say, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. You know?
This is a great reference to the book, though, because this sort of happens in the book where she actually gets stuck on the ski lift or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So we don't have Nancy getting stuck on it, but we do utilize that to indicate, hey, we're trapped.
Although it would have been great to have if we were talking about a potential remaster, a fun little skiing minigame would have been really cool.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like how in White Wolf of Icicle Creek, you have Nancy on the snowmobile navigating through the trees.
I was about to say it would have to be better than that, though, because that that goes on forever. It's so frustrating.
Well, shorter than that.
Yeah.
But like maybe something about like navigating, different. And maybe we could chase someone at one point. Because that happens in the book too.
Yeah.
I don't think Nancy's not chasing someone down the slopes, but there is like a masked skier kind of situation who disappears at, around the side of the castle at one point, and Nancy follows him.
And leaves the little bit of their snowsuit, right?
Right. Yeah. So anyway.
Good stuff.
Anyway, oh wait, they were a snowmobiler, weren't they?
Yeah. They were on snowmobiles in that scene.
We could literally redo the snowmobile.
Yeah.
Anyway. So the next time we do talk to Hotchkiss, we can talk about this medallion situation, because what the heck is going on here? And she will eventually tell us that her friend Helga gave her a medallion with a green stone in it, not a blue stone. So the blue stone, which was Jock, so we know that the green stone was the one that Hotchkiss originally had, meaning that, and we did get the red stone from the garden, right? So
yeah, that was Ezra's.
Ezra Wickford always had the red stone. But how did the green stone end up in Jock's locker? We could maybe assume that, okay, Dexter took the green stone when he, quote unquote, knocked us over the head and put it in the, the shed. But how did it get in there to begin with? Because did Jock take it from Hotchkiss's room? And if he did, why would he leave his blue medallion in place?
Yeah.
Very weird.
Why would he be the one committing the robberies in the hotel?
Doesn't make any sense. But Hotchkiss will tell us that at some point, that nice Linda girl, I think she calls her Linda, did come by to clean her room. Oh, okay. So, might give us a little clue. So whenever it's been a full day since you've given Hotchkiss the journal, you can then go up into her room to read the translation of it.
So we read the journal, and Marie bemoans the fact that her husband made her this tiara and wishes she didn't even have it so that she could just give that money to France. So what she decided to do was have the tiara dismantled, and 3 of the precious stones. So I guess the tiara had a massive diamond, a ruby, an emerald, and a sapphire in it.
No wonder she hated it. I bet it was ugly.
I bet so. And so she had the 3 precious stones, except the diamond, made into these medallions. So our green one is the emerald, the red is the ruby, the blue is the sapphire. And then she planned to scatter these across the world, because I guess that's how you get the money for France, right? But the diamond itself was the most valuable, obviously, of these 4 gems, and she wanted that returned to France. So she decided that she would hide it and then bring... Oh my gosh. Okay. And so she's going to hide the diamond. And then once the 3 medallions are reunited, then she will tell people about the diamond. Because I guess at that point, it'll be a long enough time that it's safe now to bring up the French Revolution. Obviously, she wasn't planning.
Yeah, I don't think she planned to survive in this journal. I don't think she was thinking I think she was thinking someone else is going to bring these things together and discover this hidden message that I've left. But what a wild perspective.
Right. Using this journal somehow.
Yeah. Which you've hidden in a secret panel.
Right. And then there's like something else cryptic that she says that will make sense later. This says her honor is blue, her courage is red, and her loyalty is green. And then there's also a decoder with different symbols standing for certain words. And on that list of words are things like honor, courage, and loyalty. So we're going to have to use these colors as a code somehow later, right? And then now that we're back in Hotchkiss's room, we can watch the other half of the recording now that it's been a full day for the battery to charge. And we can see in the video when Hotchkiss gasped where it cut off, we see that she had found a peephole underneath a portrait of Marie Antoinette that was hanging in one of the hallways of the castle. So she pulls out her medallion in this video and seems to like read a message. So in the video, we don't actually see Hotchkiss. It's just like her holding the camera and narrating it. And then at this part, she actually puts the camera down. So we're just like looking at a wall while she's talking and listening to her. But we like hear her say something about the medallion, like, oh, I got to get my medallion out to read this. And then she like reads off a message, but then the footage cuts off again. And this annoyed me as a child because I tried to charge the battery again because you think that the battery has died again.
There's going to be more.
There's nothing else. That's it. You only get the 2 little bits of footage. But no matter though, because from this video, we know where this portrait is in the building. So we just go find that portrait. So there is indeed a little peephole in the wall right there that has a little medallion shape around it. So if you insert your medallion into the peephole, you can actually look through the gem in the center. And because it's like a colored gem, think of it like maybe like 3D glasses where you can like see the color better when it's like contrasted with a different color.
Because you're also looking at stained glass.
Yes.
It's actually quite clever.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at this colorful stained glass through the colored gem, it reveals a message that isn't there to the naked eye. My goodness, I'm not even going to try with the French. There is a message in French. It roughly translates to the truth is what everyone believes it to be. Okay. And so obviously now we have all 3 medallions. We can actually trade out the medallions in the peephole and you get a different message depending on what color you're looking through. So there are some other words here that we have to translate, and those are... No, again, I'm not going to try. The English translation would be chanson. Hope to those who search, the diamond of misery in my journal, and the solution is found within. And then if you check Marie's decoder that was also included in her journal, we see that those symbols from the translation so
there's also a string of symbols underneath.
Yeah, so for each one of those little French phrases, there's the symbols that it shows. And so if you translate those symbols, it says purple rose, to hold, diamond key of queen. So.
Okay.
Have you solved it yet? Have y'all solved it? Yeah. So the purple rose, of course, refers to the purple rose that Marie Antoinette is holding in the painting in the Tower Room. So if we head back there, we can use... So one of the suits of armor in the like dungeon room has like not a spade. What is it called? He's got
poleaxe.
He's got some kind of weapon.
I think it's a poleaxe.
Yeah, poleaxe. That sounds right.
I think so.
It's a poleaxe. So if you go and you like get the tip of the axe from that suit of armor, you can use that tip to like pry off some of the tile squares from the Marie Antoinette mosaic or whatever. And if you pry off the specific tiles that show the purple rose, behind it we find a square-shaped key that kind of almost looks like that little niche on the floor of the crest. Also, if you look at the symbols on the chart or whatever, you can figure out the order in which the medallions need to be laid on the floor, because the courage, loyalty, whatever thing all correspond to the order in which the medallions need to be laid out on the floor, because they're like, there's 3 shapes for the medallions to go into. You just don't know which medallion needs to go into which slot. So Nancy is able to figure out where to put the purple rose key, and then she's able to put the medallions into the right place on the floor. And then the crest opens up, like the medallions sink down into the floor, and something else comes up. Like this little pedestal arises from the floor. Don't even ask me about the engineering of how this works. But a little thing comes up. A plinth comes up from the floor, and it is holding the largest, most sparkliest diamond you have ever seen.
Then we hear someone off screen say, "Whoa, would you look at that rock?" It is Lisa. Obviously, it's Lisa, the one person that we kind of haven't suspected until now, who hasn't really had a reason to, that we've seen to have a motive to try to get into the tower. She is the culprit. She tells us that she followed us here and tells us to toss her the diamond so that she can skedaddle. Nancy, of course, is like, well, this diamond doesn't belong to you. And then in return, Lisa will spray us with her spicy devil villain venom pepper spray.
Iconic.
Truly. And then, Nancy will get all blurry-eyed and, we can't see anything. But Lisa will just stick around and let us ask her questions, which is wild. Why she doesn't just take the diamond and leave, I will never know. But we do learn from her that, yes, she is the one who trapped us in the elevator. She's the one who locked us outside in the cold. She's also the one who knocked us over the head in the locker room. And then she switched all the medallions around just to confuse us.
Just for funsies.
Just for fun. We literally are like, why was this medallion in Jock's locker and the other medallion was in Hotchkiss' room? And she's like, yeah, I just switched them around. I thought it would be funny.
Throw suspicion on other people, maybe?
Okay.
Also, how? How did you get into Jock's locker to steal the medallion that was in Hotchkiss's room and then swap it?
Well, presumably, so I'm thinking that she got Hotchkiss's medallions first.
Right.
Because
she did the break-in.
When she did the break-in. And then, at some point figured out how to get into Jock's locker. That I don't know. Switched the medallions. And then Hotchkiss says that, she came by to clean her room. And that's when she planted the blue stone there. So, yeah, I don't know how she got into Jock's locker, though. That's weird. Anyway, we ask her, obviously, why are you doing all of this, Lisa? And it's literally just for the money. She just wants the diamond so that she can sell it and be rich. She tells us that, a photojournalist does not make that much. And she was destined to live in the lap of luxury. Listen, I don't not understand this. I feel like money's a good motivator. Yeah. I think this is a great villain origin story. It doesn't make her unsympathetic. And she doesn't she sprays Nancy with pepper spray, but it's not like she doesn't beat Nancy up. It's not like Manette doing her kung fu against us. You know what I mean? It just seems kind of normal. Anyway, so she does say that, yes, she did vandalize the library, but she only did it because she somehow mistranslated the word journal to mean library, because she did do the medallion thing. She put the medallion into the peephole, to see where it says Diamond of Misery in my journal. And she thought that it meant Diamond of Misery in the library.
Y'all, it's not even spelled differently. The French word for journal is journal. It's not like it was a confusing word. You would read that and you see the English word for journal, and she said, oh, that must mean library. What? It's a cognate, and you still got it wrong?
Listen, she did tell us, Lisa did say she barely passed Spanish in high school. She can't speak French.
The French word for library is the same as it is in Spanish.
I just don't understand how it's like, okay, yes, you read that phrase and you can't speak French, clearly. So wouldn't you try to translate it to see what it means before you vandalize a library?
Surely there's a French translation book somewhere.
Surely. You could ask Hotchkiss for one. Do you have an English to French dictionary or French to English dictionary I can use?
Library is just bibliothèque in French. Journal is journal.
Anyway,
it's so funny. Incompetence.
So at this point, she just snatches the diamond and then starts to run off. And of course, we have to go after her to try to stop her. And what do we have but that handy little button on the side of the stairs that we can hit, making the stairs retract back into the wall and Lisa to fall, one would assume to her death, into a stone cell She's fine though, and she like shouts up at us like, yuck, this is gross in here. Nancy, get me out of here. But of course we don't. We call the police, presumably. And that's the end of the game.
We did it.
We did it. Nancy writes a letter to Carson to wrap up this whole affair, and we learn that the diamond, journal, and medallions have all been sent to France, and there is apparently going to be a new Marie Antoinette exhibit in Paris featuring all of this stuff. Lisa is going to be charged with attempted grand theft. Maybe also can we do assault to that? Somehow Hotchkiss has received permission from the French government to publish her translation of the journal in the United States before France does. Don't know how that happened, but okay. And Jacques and Isabelle end up eloping, and of course he's no longer disgraced because of his Olympic failure, because of his participation in uncovering this somehow, though
What
I don't
participation?
know how. Yeah, sawing at the gate.
Hacksawing and then abandoning us when we're injured.
And then apparently Nancy shows Dexter the poem, and he's happy to know that Ezra forgave him for stealing $50. And apparently he's also been invited to several talk shows to like tell his life story. And Christy Lane has asked Dexter to become her business partner. And Nancy leaves us with a little quip at the end of the letter, just saying that it is never too late to change history.
Aw.
And that's the end. The question I have, is attempted grand theft a thing?
I don't know.
Like, can you get charged? I know you can get charged with, like, attempted murder. Can you get charged with trying to steal something but failing?
I don't know. Surely there's some sort of stipulation for, like, breaking and entering, surely, right? The vandalism, we've got her on that.
I mean, yeah. What is attempted grand theft? I mean, I can see what grand theft is. But, okay. I'm reading a Reddit thread now. I'm going down a rabbit hole about attempted theft, and I think she could really get out of this.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my thought is like Lisa's attorney can just be like, well, only she and Miss Drew were in that tower. It's Miss Drew's word against Lisa as to what she was actually doing with the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know that Nancy was going to do with the diamond?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa claims that Nancy actually was attempting to steal this diamond, and Lisa was trying to get away with it to keep it from Nancy.
Maybe Nancy pushed her down the stairs and into the cell so that she could get away with it.
There was a physical altercation in which Miss Ostrom felt that she had to defend herself against Nancy. She sprayed her with the pepper spray, but that did not prevent Nancy from pushing her off the stairs as she went down. We should be heralding Miss Ostrom for her attempts to preserve French history in the face of such assault.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. I think Lisa got away with this.
I just can't see how someone could convict her of attempted theft. You would have no way to prove what her intention was with that diamond. It's not like the diamond was in a museum locked away somewhere and was like, you know, already like in possession. This diamond was clearly belongs to France, across the ocean, has basically already been kind of unintentionally stolen. Like,
I think we can get her on the assault charges, knocking us out, maybe locking us outside in the cold.
Maybe, but again, that's a he said, she said situation. Because Nancy, like, also was clearly, like, Lisa also, like, suffered likely physical injury from falling down the stairs.
That's true.
So who could say who assaulted whom?
The vandalism, though, we might get her on that.
How can we prove that she vandalized the library?
We can't unless she confesses, which she did confess to Nancy. Was Nancy recording? Probably not.
Probably not. It's 2001.
True.
She didn't have that video camera with her.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they can, maybe they have security cameras, which they would have solved that a lot easier, a lot faster.
Yeah, because Dexter would have just been like,
check the cameras.
Yeah, let me see what happened. This is the question that I always have, like, at the end of, like, Nancy Drew games or books. I'm like, yeah, okay, we solved the mystery, but what was the crime exactly? And how are we just saying, oh, they've been dealt with, like, it's in the police's hands now? It's like, what are we expecting to happen here? And I'm worried that in 6 months, a year's time, Lisa's gonna be like, ring ring Nancy Drew, guess who's out of jail? It's your girl. You know what I mean? Like,
you're the worst friend a diamond thief's ever had, Nancy Drew.
Also, I will say that this game really frames Lisa as being like a career criminal, but we have absolutely no evidence that she has committed any other thefts.
No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have like her like fake IDs and her like fake passports and everything.
Which is weird.
Clearly isn't kosher, and that probably would count against her in any trial if those are found, which I assume they would be. You would search her locker at the hotel. But it's not proof. It's circumstantial.
I could believe that it's just literally just a photojournalist lying about who she is so that she can access whatever, get into events or what.
So you could get her on like possession of like, I forget what they call like having a fake ID. Like there's some way they can charge you with like having that, like falsifying government documents kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So you could get her on that charge, but I don't think you're going to get much prison time for that if it's your first offense. Maybe because there are so many of them.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There was a lot.
But anyway, we need to get a lawyer on this still. I need to talk to a criminal lawyer to talk about some of this stuff because I've got so many questions, man.
Which criminal do we think did the most time of anyone?
Oh, that's such a good question. We should make a scoop sesh about that.
Ooh. We might have to limit it to just the games because I feel like the books, we would be getting in way over our heads. Yeah.
But the games, yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll save it for a scoop sesh. That would be a very interesting discussion.
Yeah, and we should try to like rank it based on like how many years we think they would get. But that would probably also take a bit of research for us to figure out like what the sentencing laws are around certain crimes. But
yeah,
that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Oh my gosh, we're such nerds. Like, that would be so fun to try to rank all the different crimes that the Nancy Drew game criminals did.
Let's theories about fictional crimes. Fictional trials. That's what it was. We were going to have like a mock trial one time, weren't we? Yes. That'd be funny. Pick a culprit and how did it go down? What kind of evidence did they throw out?
Defense attorney for some of these Nancy Drew criminals. I gotta say.
Nancy screws up a lot.
Nancy does a lot of harm.
She breaks a lot of laws.
She breaks stuff. She breaks people's property.
She steals things from suspects.
She absolutely steals things.
She would not look good on paper.
She vandalizes.
No, you're so right.
She also pretends to be different people at certain times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would absolutely get thrown out because the amount of evidence tampering that you could accuse Nancy of doing.
Nancy's been in Lisa's locker.
Yep. Everything in there's now thrown out.
And I'm sure Nancy would admit to that on the stand as, yes, I found those things in her locker. Oh, you found those things in Lisa's locker, did you, Miss Drew? Is it possible that you yourself planted those items in Miss Ostrom's locker to make her seem more guilty than she likely is? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case.
I love it. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Lisa's totally not serving any time.
No. Not if I have anything to say about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. So that's Treasure in the Royal Tower.
It is. It's such a good one. It's such a banger. I love it so much.
It's so good.
Oh, okay. Things that stand out to me about Treasure in the Royal Tower. The exploration we've already talked about. The characters. Hotchkiss's green eyeshadow alone deserves like a blog post of just me just being so like happy because that's what it makes me. Green eyeshadow. It's such a look. It's such a confidence thing. She's such a confident lady and I really appreciate her for it.
Looks good with the red hair too. Hotchkiss has like curly red hair, very bright.
Yes.
And then she also wears that very loud floral print dress. Yes.
Yes, the prince she wears.
She's such a great character. I'm so happy that they introduced her. She comes back a few times as a phone character, like I said. Like, she's a fan favorite for sure.
Absolutely. Other things that stand out, the zaniness and assholery of Ezra Wickford. The sexism and horribleness of Jacques Brunet.
Yep.
Couscous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, just that library. It's so pretty.
The library, the books.
Yeah.
Okay, something I do have a question about the library. So, you know how like we use dust to, do the fingerprint thing on the alarm to get the alarm code. Why is there so much dust in this library? Why is it so dusty? Because it is dusty everywhere.
It is dusty everywhere. I'm wondering if the reason that little area was as dusty as it was, I don't know if it's more dusty than the rest of it, but maybe it's just like debris from the plaster, because that is right below drywall dust. Yeah, where the hole got punched in the wall.
Okay.
So I'm just assuming that maybe it's just like it kind of fell on, because it's like there's a desk right below that area.
Right.
So I assume that it just kind of like scattered on there, and that's what we're using.
I'll accept that. Yeah. I always just thought that it was like, well, because I think there is some dust over on like another book on like the chess table.
Where the chess is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I was like, why is it so dusty in here? This is literally supposed to have just been like in use last night.
Right.
Like Dexter tells us that like he checked it the night before and everything was fine. It was like a guest like area, right, for people to be able to go in and enjoy the books and, I guess the chess table and whatever. So it's not like it should have been clean.
Maybe Dexter's just not doing a very good job.
Maybe so. But I thought the reason why it was only Dexter here was because of the blizzard. I thought that they did have, or at least they talk about it in the book as them having other staff that do work there. They just can't come in once, the storm starts. So
yeah,
I don't know. Whatever. But what a great game.
I know. I love it.
Oh,
it's just so good.
Something else I noticed, I don't know if this is in other games or if this is the first mention of it, but if you call Ned at the beginning, his voicemail says that he is in the Omega Chi Epsilon frat house.
Oh.
Do they mention that as early as Stay Tuned for Danger? That might be in Stay Tuned for Danger.
I don't remember. This is, though, the first game where Scott Carty voices Ned, because he's Ned for the rest of the series. But if you remember, he actually voiced Charlie in Message in a Haunted Mansion.
Oh, I remember. I just thought it was interesting the first time they mentioned Ned being in a frat. I said, maybe this. So.
Yeah, which would make sense to me, but I don't remember. I don't think that he was in... No, he wasn't a phone contact in Message in a Haunted Mansion. He's just a phone contact in the first two games. So it would make sense if...
First game doesn't really count because it's like there's not a whole lot you can say on the phone to your phone characters.
No, and Bess and George are just Lonnie in the first game.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Yeah. But I can't remember. Stay Tuned for Danger is the only one I can't remember that they may have put something in there about it, because I think both Bess and George are a phone character in that, but I can't remember if Ned is, and I can't remember what he might say.
I remember that he is a phone character in Stay Tuned for Danger because they say I love you on the phone for the first time in that, and then we try to undo that in Sea of Darkness where we have her like saying it for the first time, but it's definitely not the first time.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, a great game. I don't have too much to say about it except that I think the real mystery of Treasure in Oriel Tower is why Ezra Wickford was so obsessed with the French Revolution.
Yeah.
In the 1920s. Like, that's a weird thing for this guy from Wisconsin to be obsessed about, but I guess he had his hobbies, and maybe actually the French Revolution was the least weird out of all of them, if you consider that he invented chocolate milk and also probably abused his child. So
he was an interesting guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and was a bug serial killer, possibly.
Oh, yeah. Most likely. And liked to go and sit in his weird little garden for his mother wife, and
I'm done. Okay, I'm done. That's it. That's the end of the podcast episode.
Everybody go home. We're wrapping it up here. We're getting too unhinged.
It's so funny though. This is probably going to be a long podcast episode. We've spoken for 2.5 hours about this. And that doesn't count the time that we spent before the episode talking about this. And I do think it's just so indicative of the fact that this game is so nostalgic for both of us. Like, such a core part of our identities, probably. Like, that all of this lore, all of this stuff that we're talking about is so deeply ingrained into our memory and into, like, the things that we know. And so it's like, we're just so ready to talk about it. Like, we just have so much stored up to talk about it. Because the thing is when we were discussing, what possible, like, games are we going to have our patrons vote on for what we're gonna, do in this episode section, and we were going through them, and I was like, I swear we have played Treasure in a Royal Tower before. I swear we've had an episode where we talked about this already, and now I know we did the book. I know we covered the book, and so maybe that's partially what's confusing me. But I could have sworn that we also had a separate game episode, but I think it's just because my lived experience so closely to everything else that I couldn't tell you when I have talked about this game, when I have not talked about this game, when I have played this game, and when I have not played this game, because in my life it's just there. It's like a pillar.
To be fair, we do mention this game a lot, even when it's not relevant to the mystery at hand. Yeah. No, I feel like I still did replay it for this podcast because I will take any excuse to replay this game, but I didn't even need to play it leading up to this episode because I know it so well. I could have told you the summary without having done my most recent replay.
And, like, there is still, I feel like, stuff that we didn't talk about.
Oh, definitely.
About this, like, the elevator, the plaque in the elevator. I don't know. There's still, like, I didn't read all the books this time. I could have. I'm sure there's some stuff in there we could have talked about. Stuff in the library. Oh, yeah. Marie Antoinette's lover, that guy.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about him.
LaBeouf, right?
I don't know.
No, that's a different guy.
That's the guy who owned Chateau Rochemont.
The building over, yeah.
But no, she had like a famous kind of, or everyone assumes that they were together, lover. I forget his name, but his journal is in the library. We didn't even talk about that. Like, there's a lot more Hotchkiss lore, probably Hotchkiss stuff in her room. Yeah, that we could talk about, but anyway.
I feel like there's more backstory with Lisa as well. There's a few conversations you can have with her that are really interesting. Yeah. Just go play it, y'all. Just go play it. Yeah. It's so good. It's worth it. Even though it's 01 graphics and navigation, it is so worth it.
Flashlight score?
5 flashlights. Easy. How about you?
Yeah, same. 5 flashlights. Yeah. Not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Not a doubt in my mind. Not a thing I would change. I just love it. It's just great.
Her Interactive, y'all were on fire at the time. And you did not slow down for quite a while after this either.
No.
So.
Speaking of after this, Kori, we have another really great one coming. You guys have got to join us on Patreon or thank our patrons at the very least, because they are knocking it out of the park with these votes. Because the next one we have is probably maybe the only other game that I could also play with my eyes shut and my hands tied behind my back. And it is Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake.
My gosh. No, seriously, that forest, the day that I forget my way around that forest is the day I need to go into a home, because I can literally just the whole map. I know it in my head. It's a problem almost to know it this well. Like,
I think there was an episode in the past where I talked about how I could, like, maybe navigate it from memory, and I started, like, doing
You
it.
did. Because that was our episode on the short story, Ghost Dogs of Whispering Oaks. You were like, yeah, I know exactly. And you recited exactly the path. You don't even need to look at the game itself. You can get through that wood maze.
Well, that is coming up next, Regular Drews, and I'm very excited to talk about that too. I'm sure we will have just another long episode discussing all of the ins and out of that, Range Rakers and Red Knot and Emily and all of it. So very, very excited for that, and we'll see you next time, Regular Drews.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to Regular Nancy Drew. If you like this episode, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Email us at regularnancydrew@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website, regularnancydrew.com, and also follow us on Instagram at regularnancydrew.
You can also support us on Patreon. Patrons at the $3 level vote on upcoming episode topics and get exclusive access to our Scoop Sesh series.
And all patrons receive early access to each episode as well as weekly bonus content.
And to all you regular Drews out there, thanks for listening.